You know, when you look at an old building, have you ever really stopped to think about the stories it could tell, the materials, the way it's built? None of that is random. It's all clues to the past, little breadcrumbs that show us how people lived, what they cared about, and how they solved the problems of their day. Today, we're going to a place where the stones themselves tell the story, the island of Guernsey.
So let's start with this. What can a simple stone wall really tell us? It seems like a pretty straightforward question, right? But believe me, a single wall can unlock secrets about everything from geography and weather to community and survival. We're going to unravel that mystery together.
First things first, where in the world are we? We're on Guernsey, this beautiful island tucked away in the English Channel, right between Britain and France. And its location, the fact that it's an island, well, that's the key to this entire story.
Which brings us right to our first big idea, how this place became an island of stone.
Think about it from their perspective. A few hundred years ago, you couldn't just hop online and order a shipment of lumber. You had to use what was right there, what was under your feet. And for Guernsey, with its rocky ground and coastal cliffs, stone was everywhere. Trying to import heavy wood across the sea, that would have been incredibly hard and super expensive. So the choice was kind of obvious, right? They used the stone that was waiting for them.
But here's the thing, it wasn't just about convenience. It turns out stone wasn't just the available material, it was absolutely the perfect material for the job.
Okay, just look at this breakdown. Imagine you're on an island that gets constantly hammered by wind, rain, and salty sea air. Wood just doesn't stand a chance. It rots, it gets worn down, it's flammable. But stone? Stone is a powerhouse. It lasts forever, it shrugs off the worst weather, and it provides incredible security. It wasn't even a contest, really. Stone was the clear winner.
So when you boil it all down, this wasn't just about building a house. It was about creating a shelter, a fortress against the elements. In a world that could feel pretty unpredictable and harsh, stone gave people a sense of security and permanence.
Of course, having the perfect material is one thing, but turning a pile of rocks into a building, well, that's a whole different ballgame. This was a world that ran on skill, sweat, and just incredible craftsmanship. Just try to picture this for a second. First, you've got to quarry the stone, which means finding the right kind and literally ripping it from the earth. Then comes the absolutely back-breaking work of moving these huge, heavy blocks without any modern machines. And finally, you have the artistry of shaping them and fitting them together just right. It was a monumental undertaking.
And let's not just gloss over that transportation step. We are talking about pure, raw, human and animal power. People and simple carts hauling these massive weights over really rough ground. Every single block you see in an old wall on Guernsey represents an incredible investment of a community's time and energy.
This quote right here is key. It shows us this wasn't just about brute force. Building with stone was a respected craft. You had to be smart. You had to understand physics, how to distribute weight, how to balance the stones so the whole thing wouldn't just fall down. This was knowledge passed down from one generation to the next, a true communal skill.
So now that we get the why they used stone and the how they did it, let's look at the so what. How did this one choice to build with stone end up shaping pretty much every part of life on the island?
Well, the impact was enormous. Homes weren't just stronger. The thick stone walls kept them warmer in the winter and cooler in the summer. Farm buildings were way more durable, which meant livestock and harvests were better protected. Those stone walls carved up the landscape, creating the field patterns you can still see today. And for defense, stone towers and walls were so much stronger, it literally built a foundation of their entire society.
And you know, there's this really beautiful side effect to all this practicality. Because they use the local stone, the buildings on Guernsey don't feel like they were just plopped down on the landscape. They feel like they grew right out of it. The colors, the textures of the homes and the walls, they perfectly match the cliffs and the earth. It creates this seamless, gorgeous blend between the human world and the natural one.
And this brings us to our final and maybe the most fascinating part of the story. What do these old stones still have to teach us today?
This is where we need to think about these buildings a little differently. They're not just structures, they're historical documents written in stone. Seriously, archaeologists can literally read them. The thickness of a wall might tell you about a need for defense. The layout of the rooms tells you about family life. They offer these priceless clues about the past, all without a single written word.
And why are these clues still around for us to find? It's simple. Stone lasts. While a wooden building might rot away and disappear over time, a well-built stone structure can stand for centuries, even thousands of years. It's a direct, physical connection to the people who came long before us.
I just love this quote. It perfectly captures the mindset behind building with stone. It's a statement. It's an investment in the future. It shows a community that's not just thinking about themselves, but about their kids and their kids' kids. It's a declaration that says we're building something permanent here.
So what this all comes down to is a really powerful lesson. It's a story about people facing the challenges of their environment, the wind, the sea, being isolated, and using local knowledge and incredible effort to create smart, elegant, and lasting solutions. This is human ingenuity at its absolute best.
And that leaves us with a final thought to take away. The people of Guernsey built their story in stone. So take a look around you at the concrete, the glass, the steel of our world. What does it say about us? What kind of story will our buildings tell people centuries from now?